working on something that's rather fascinating. I'm worried about, not worried about, I'm concerned about future workforce issues. And we're now got, we've gone through the millennial stuff, we've gone through the Gen Z stuff. The Gen Alphas are now just, they're teenagers.
What?
And I went and visited 2 schools. And one of the schools is fascinating because it's a grade school and they teach all of their curriculum is problem-based. The other school that I went and visited, all their curriculum is competency-based. And I went through their competencies, and they are doing things with middle schoolers that I did in early years of college. It's amazing to me. Now, that said, I don't know if it's gonna click. So stand by. There may be a report from me coming one of these days because it's just too fascinating not to talk about. That's all I got. Bye.
Gen Alpha, that's so interesting. I'm right smack in the middle. I'm not sure if I'm millennial or Gen Z. It varies, but crazy things are happening.
Oh yeah. Here's the point. I think from a workforce issue, these young people that are going to be entering the workforce in the next few years are going to run into a brick wall of a bunch of knuckleheads that don't know how to deal with them. And they're going to dislike them because they're different. And so on the one hand, they may not be ready for work, but work may not be ready for them. So I got to say, it's going to be an interesting piece of research I'm doing.
Hey, Bill, I allowed to myself to just add to this. I just
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, it's just that I just finished a book called Average is Over, which is literally about the workforce in the coming future. And you might have part of more infos or dots to connect along those lines. I think it might be really interesting. If you're interested in that topic, that book was really insightful.
Average is Over.
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to get it. Thank you.
Victoria, may
very
I?
Interesting. Yes.
Can I
yes, of course.
jump in for a couple of minutes?
Yeah, of course.
So forgive me, I'm going to be a couple of minutes and I'm going to jump off again because I'm going through airport security. It's terrible. I just wanted to give you an update, and because it's being recorded for those people who listen to it on demand as well, in terms of customers, which I guess is the thing that everybody wants to know about. We're getting there. My ambition is to match the number of listings with the number of transactions, obviously, that are purchased as a guide. So we have over 200 listings now. We need buyers that are prepared to pay, that are prepared to buy 200 listings. And we're getting there. It's coming. Every time that we engage a new enterprise, they're buying multiple listings and want proposals for multiple listings. So I can elaborate when we next get to talk next week, map out to you how our strategy is going. But every time that we actually win the trust of a large scale enterprise, they seem to buy multiple opportunities. So that's all I've got for now. I'll be updating you next week, and you'll start to see these transactions come through and hopefully be notified as well when people want to buy your listings. It's their decision, not mine. And it's all about the listing and your participation in that. I think Victoria's going to talk a little bit more about the LinkedIn article and those that are coming next week. So we've got 4 that we're publishing next week. Right, Victoria?
Yes, sir. Does
Alrighty,
anybody
thanks,
have
guys.
any questions for Robert? Nope, no comments, no questions?
We're good.
All right. Yes, just my computer just got blocked. All right, so following up to what Robert was speaking about, so there is a new strategy that we've been talking to everybody about, and it is to interact with potential clients and customers in a very organic way. So right now the focus is to make them like, trust, and respect Elevate and its members. So we also during that process understand what could be offered and is offered currently to their company's issues and what Elevate and all of its members can provide. So it all starts by empathizing with the target customer who meets defined criteria, interviewing them, interacting with them in a very meaningful way, perhaps finding out their point of view in a trending topic, learning about them and their specialty, their experiences, how they've applied them to their business, what has been successful, what may not have been successful, what difficulties they're currently encountering in the workplace, etc. And through this, it is possible to establish an interaction, meaningful link with the potential client, and with the information that's learned through the interview, an article is created and is posted on LinkedIn, sharing this encounter with the world, with all of our followers on the page, and sharing valuable information that may help other businesses as well. So this week, today exactly, we have a new article that was made that Robert worked really hard on. And it was based on an interview that he had with Roy Sexton. Roy is the director of marketing in Clark Hill Law in Detroit. And they were able to talk about teams, leadership, and learning. So I'm going to leave the link in the chat. It would be very helpful. We find that this may interest you, that you'll enjoy it. And obviously, it does really help for you to like, share, comment, anything. It really does support us. I'm going to leave it right now in the chat. Give me just 1 sec. And I'll also share it in the report that I send every single Friday. So as I was saying, it does help support our business development, expand our network, and it's incredibly important to all of our progress. And it's very good objective information that you may find some value from. And without further ado, I would like to introduce John Adrich. So John is keynote speaker, best-selling author, and today he's going to be talking about why 50% of people in business survive despite their best efforts not to, and the other half fail. So John, if you would like to take it from here.
Thanks, Victoria, and welcome everybody. And it's nice to see everybody on the call. And I know most of you are speakers and authors, so I'll try and present in speaker-author language that you can hopefully resonate with. By the end of this short segment, I hope that you'll be able to take away just one thing that you'll be able to implement immediately into your speaker or author business and make a positive impact on what it is that you're currently doing. So I wrote the book based on observations of 33 years of dealing with people in business. And they're all shapes and sizes from all walks of life, big and small business. I've worked with some massive companies like Microsoft and Lend-Lease Corporation, MLC Life, Coca-Cola. I'm sure you've recognized those. But I've also spent the most of my life building small business communities. And in this latest venture, directly and indirectly, I've got 480,000 businesses in 31 countries that I trade with on a reciprocal basis. So I'm going to share a couple of things that I've learned. I've never, ever invented anything. I've only ever learned and taken advantage of something and then looked at it, thought about it, and saw whether I could improve it. An example of this is Zig Ziglar. Everybody on the call, you know Zig Ziglar, who I'm talking about? See a few people nodding their head. So Zig said, if you continue to do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got, or words to that effect. I'm going to challenge that to say in this modern age with digitization, with social media, if you continue to do what you've always done, you will not get what you've always got because you will have gone backwards because your competitor will have innovated. So I don't know how many people initially what you thought is around that. Who sort of agrees with that and who doesn't agree? So anybody agree, thumbs up, and if you don't agree, thumbs down. Okay, so we'll have to sell, I don't even know if Zig's still alive, but I have to give him a message if he is. So thank you, Stephanie. So based on that premise, if you're going to do something different to get a better result, then doing what you're continuing to do won't achieve that. So if we've all agreed on that. So here's a couple of thoughts, and I'll take you back to a little experience that I had at a restaurant. So I'm driving down the road and I've got my 2 adult children in the back seat, and I see this big sign says, "Come in, new restaurant, new management, try our pizza ovens." So I thought, that's quite interesting. So compulsive decision, I turned up their driveway, went up this nice cobblestone driveway, pine trees either side, plenty of parking at the top. And I walked into the restaurant. I was greeted superbly. It was a lovely sunny July day here in the UK. Lovely ambiance. There's a backyard with lawns, the pizza oven's out there, the birds are singing, you know, the deer are hopping around in the yard, you get the picture. So it's a nice place to be. So the lady says, "Do you want to dine inside and have a drink, or do you want to go outside to the pizza?" So we'll go out to the pizza. So out we go. We order our pizzas, order some drinks. They're delivered superbly on time. Everything's going really well. They taste nice. You know how, just on that hot day and you have a beer and it's just that first mouthful that really, satisfies what was 3 or 4 days of pent up anxiety until you had the next taste, for those of you who'd like their drink. So they made the pizza. We watched it all being made. It was delivered to the table. Then the first little cross came along. You know that annoying thing when you're just about to take your first bite and the waitress or the waiter says, "How do you like your meal, sir? Is everything going all right so far?" And you think, "Yeah, go away. I haven't even had a mouthful yet." And here in the UK, and I don't know about other parts of the world, but where I've lived in the US and Australia, if it's bad, they throw rocks at you. If it's bad in the UK, they just say it's okay, but then they never come back. So it's a weird buying phenomenon. So anyway, we have our pizza, everything's here, a couple of drinks, bill comes to £100. That's sort of like about nearly $100, the way the exchange rate's going in the last month or so in Uncle Sam dollars. Everything's fine. We leave the restaurant and I'm walking out the door and I said to my wife, "Wow, they've made 3 of the biggest blunders that I've ever come across in business." And she said, "Why?" She said, "The food was good. The price was reasonable. We had lovely service. What's wrong?" And I said, "Well, have a think about it. We're walking out the door. Have they done any data capture? Do they know who I am? Have they got my email? Do they know my month of birth? Can they invite me back a month before my birthday and make an offer of some kind if I come along?" No, they still don't know to this day, this is 2 years ago, who I am. Second blunder is, did they understand my buying motivation? What made me, on the spur of the moment, turn up the driveway today? Was it the food? Was it the service? Was it the ambiance? No, it was the under new management, try the new pizza oven. So if they'd done a survey of all the customers that had come into that restaurant for the very first time and asked them a simple buying motivation question instead of the dumb question of, "How did you like your meal? Was everything okay, sir?" I would have said, "Well, I saw the sign that said, try the pizza oven." So what could they have done? They could have focused their marketing on the pizza oven. If 32% of the people who responded to the buying motivation question said it was the pizza oven that caught their attention in the first place. Are we all on the same page here? Now, it might have been the lake, it might have been the bird singing, it might have been Bambi running across in the acreage. Whatever it is, there's a different buying motivation. And if you think back to your buying motivation, when you go to a place the first time, what's the trigger? What's the number one thing that goes off in your mind that says, "I want to go and do business with that company today"? So translate it to speakers and authors. What's the number one reason people book you? What's the number one reason people like your presentation? What's the number one takeaway that people have from your presentation? and then focus your marketing around that motivation, if that makes sense. What was the third blunder? Well, they never give me an invitation to come back. I'm talking about a visit in July 2019. Okay, COVID has popped up in the meantime, but I still haven't been back, even though I had a really nice experience. So the bill came to £100, just over $100 in US terms. Out of that, £28 was a nice bottle of Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. And my wife loves Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. So what my wife asks for, she gets. That's a way to keep a happy life, I've always found. So that cost £28. How much did it cost at the wholesaler? 5, 6 if it's lucky. I know that. So if they'd have said, John, come back and spend another £100 when it's your birthday, because I know it's July, so I'm going to write to you in June, and probably write a letter rather than a silly email that gets caught up with everything else. There's another little tip. If you want to get someone's attention and a better open rate, send some snail mail, make it personal and see the difference. Try that and see what happens. So I get a communication in June next year saying, hey, John, you had a great time last year, I believe, and your wife loved that Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. If you book for 2 people or more, I'm going to throw in a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc. Now, if the bill comes to £100, it's like a 5 or 6% discount in terms to them, hardly nothing. But in value to me, that's a 28% discount, if you're all following what I'm saying here. So what can you do in your business to add value to an invitation to return that doesn't cost you the amount of value that it represents to the person that's buying from you? So that concludes what I was wanting to share with you today, other than one little tip. And that is, how can you, as a speaker or author, double your speaker fee and have the booker gagging for more? Using the concept that I've just shared with you. What if you said, and you're trying to get a gig with Coca-Cola, and I only say Coca-Cola because I know the product well, I used to work there. So let's say that you were talking to the booker, and the booker said, yeah, we've got a gig coming up, and you said your fee is £20,000, and they say they've only got 10. Does that ever happen to you? Will they ever try and chip you on price? I see a few people. So you say, well, look, price is my integrity. 20 grand's what I charge. But I'll tell you what, I'll take that 10 grand that you offered me if you supply me with £10,000 worth of Coca-Cola product that you can get from your little chamois pool over here that you've got to trade with. So what will that mean? Is that you'll get me for your 10 grand, which was what the budget you were trying to chip me for. But as a direct result of booking me, you'll also get £10,000 worth of customers coming back and buying some Coca-Cola products. The question then is, what do you do with 10 grand's worth of Coke if you're not into Coke? Then you come to me, and then in my community, I turn it into a flexible digital trade credit that you can go and pay your accountant or do some marketing or other things with. Or you can use it yourself, donate it to your favorite charity, whatever works. What's the upside of all of this? The upside is that your speaker fee now is 20 grand. And when you get a referral from the booker at Coca-Cola to Pepsi, not that you're likely to ever get that, you're talking to the Pepsi person, you say, well, Coke just paid me 20 grand. Here's the invoice. Shocked and stunned, I can see. It's written on everybody's face. I could do this again as a separate little article as well, but hopefully out of one of two of those sort of things on buying motivation or how to build and double your speaker fee and get the booker gagging for more, there's been one piece of information you could take away, run away and play with. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I look forward to seeing you again. It's John Attridge. If you like me, remember my name, and if you don't like me, I'll hide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Does anybody have any question for John? Robert, is there something that you would like to add? I think we've lost him.
Well, while Robert is maybe coming back on, let me just comment on something from John. I went to a restaurant recently and had a very bad experience, but I talked to the manager, and the manager later on sent me a nice discount, a coupon for the next meal, and a handwritten note. The handwritten note just made all the difference in the world because he took the time. I'm going back. So there's that.
Don't be like, I was at a restaurant recently with my wife, and she had a piece of cake and it was stale. And the waitress came across and said, "Oh, what was wrong with it?" And she said it was stale. And she said, "Would you like another piece? I'll replace it." It was from the big cakes, you know, that sit on the thing. It's all right.
Sorry about that. Robert?
John, it's interesting that you've mentioned the speaker and the coach side of things, because everybody will always get that kind of negotiation. At least they'll have the starting conversation, which is, you know, you asked for 10, we've only got 5. And actually building that value up to be able to maintain your batting average, as it were, is really important. I wonder whether maybe not now, but people can understand that constant context of leverage and how you do negotiate on that side of products and services that you can maybe double up and add on.
Absolutely, Robert. And what I tried to do today was a bastardise abridgment of 3 different presentations I did. That's the first time I've done that. So it didn't quite gel together as I wanted to, but it's 3 separate ideas that I normally speak separately about.
Yeah, and when you're going to do 10 grand's worth of work, and you've got a day out because of the travel and other obligations, the other way of doing it perhaps obviously is rolling up the frequency, isn't it? Or, you know, they're asking you to do 1, you say, well, look, I'll do 3, but we'll stay at the same price. It's interesting, and I think we ought to try and see if we can commit that to a sort of a strategy paper on negotiation strategy, because everybody's doing it every day. Right?
100%. Leverage what you have that doesn't cost you the amount of the leverage. That's the message. So what
but
value?
Whilst maintaining the perception of value, and that's
100%.
the key thing, because everybody will go. I think what you're saying is there are alternatives to just saying no, aren't there? I'm sticking to my guns.
100%, and that's what happens. You know, you either drop your pants and do it for 10 instead of 20, or there's something in the middle. You leave a bad taste in your mouth. You feel unhappy because you've been chipped for 10 grand, and you reluctantly go and do it. I mean, I've heard of reluctant speakers, and I'm sure everybody else has. And you think, this lady or this guy doesn't want to be here. Yeah, we've all been through those sort of presentations, and maybe that was the reason. I don't know, but it's the integrity in your brand, but it's building value in you, because when that business goes back to present to its referral friends, which is where you should be getting most of your gigs, is they can truly say, look, here's the invoice, and it's not some made up number. It's true value.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the follow-up ratings and reviews that people will get are critically important as well, particularly for us here now. And that's how you really want to drive currency to your that activity, so that it's proof, yeah, and proof of your speaking activity at a price point is really what the next person's looking for. They're happy to pay. They just want proof of delivery, and delivery to everybody's satisfaction.
Alrighty then, thank you very much for that. Well, we actually have 2 new users that haven't met Robert yet. Robert is Elevate CEO. I wish you would have been able to meet Robert under different circumstances. You may be a little bit confused. He's at the airport right now, so that's why you can hear maybe a little bit of noise in the background. We're sorry about that. But we do have Sharisa. She has never joined us before in a workshop. We met through LinkedIn. She's a TEDx and award-winning keynote speaker. She's a coach. She coaches on leadership and executive coaching for corporate leaders. And we will have her come back next week, and I'm very excited for that. She will be talking about how to be a powerful, influential leader. So if you would like to introduce a little bit, introduce yourself a little bit, talk to us a little bit about yourself, Sharisa.
Sure. Hi, Victoria. Thank you so much for the introduction. So
Yes,
yeah,
of
I'm
course.
very excited to come back next week and talk about being an influential leader. This seems to be one of the topics that I get asked to speak on a lot. Like, how do you do that? How do you connect well with people and things like that? And really just, you know, thrive in and have the level of impact that that you want to have. So I work a lot with my clients on those kinds of topics. And so yeah, I'm happy to come back and present, and I'm excited to see all of you hopefully again next week.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to that. And obviously it will be very valuable and beneficial to everybody. So Robert, I'm not sure if you would like to add something that I haven't mentioned. Hello?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm good. I'm literally just running through an airport. My apologies, and welcome those people who haven't seen before. Yeah, you'll start to see next week some an increase in our frequency and cadence of publishing articles. Roy Sexton, who you mentioned, Victoria, is Vice President and Director of Marketing for a law firm in Boston, has 1,000 lawyers all over the US and Europe, and is a influential guy. And you know, he is the one who's spending. So he's the one who is making decisions, and he's the one who is going to be deciding on who he thinks is the most useful for knowledge transfer, applied knowledge, training, coaching, and so forth. So when the actual talk to in terms of how we hashtag what we how we communicate with our members and what the ask is, just to repeat that, I think would be really useful.
Okay. Hey, Kevin McNulty, you may have been on here before. I may have missed you, but who are you and what do you do? Why are you on this thing?
Yes, actually, I was on last week. Was it last week?
Yeah, you were
Victoria?
on last week. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll try it again because I missed it.
Well, you might be shocked to know that I'm a speaker.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm a speaker and a coach. Been doing it for 20 years. I spent 20 years in the Air Force, got out, moved to Tennessee, started speaking and coaching practice, wrote a book and on major life transitions, and here I am.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I'm a Marine Corps veteran, so thank you for your service, and
Likewise.
we're a part of the brotherhood in that regard.
That's a 100% statement. Very nice to meet you.
All right. So as I mentioned before, I will be sending a link to the article that was posted today on the Elevate LinkedIn page. It also has the Elevate Elite hashtag. So if you like our content, it's important for you to keep up with the hashtag. You can follow it. Remember, the article is about teams, leadership, and learning, and I will be sending it after the meeting. So I would like to thank all of you for joining us today, for taking a few minutes of your time, and I would love to see everybody next week. So have a wonderful weekend with your families and recharge, rest up. Thank you very much.
Okay,
so much.
thank you. Bye now.
Happy
Bye.
birthday.
Victoria, just before you go, I
Yes.
won't be on next Friday. I'll be over your
Okay.
neck of the woods. I'm coming over to Vegas for do some speaking at Planet Hollywood. So I'll be sneaking over for a week.
Oh, wonderful. I've always dreamed of going to Vegas, but I'm actually not in the States. I'm in Colombia in South
I know,
America.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw that.
but it is nearer.
I hope to be
All
back the
right.
week after. Okay, take care.
Okay, thank you so much
Bye
for
now.
participating today. Bye-bye.
Bye.